picture of this thing. And it's God speaking to us. Usually it's a message, right, that encourages us. It might remind us of the character of God. It will tell us about his love for us. And sometimes it points us in how we can respond to the love God has for us. So we're going to look at prophecy. And to help us, we're actually going to look at 3 events that happened just before Jesus got arrested and killed when he died on the cross. 3 different events, 3 different groups of people that actually prophesy something. They actually prophesy something. The first one, right, and the bishops are going to help us in a minute, but it's all about a family. Lazarus. Lazarus has got 2 sisters, Mary and Martha, and they are really good friends of Jesus. Right, Dan, do you want to start getting set up? They're really good friends of Jesus, and sadly Lazarus gets really sick. And really, really sick. And so they send a message to Jesus, say, Jesus, could you come? Can you come? Because Lazarus is really, really sick. But sadly, in the end, Lazarus dies. Lazarus dies and gets buried in a tomb. And they bury him in a tomb. He's a very compliant corpse. He's very good. You're fine. So he's buried. And eventually Jesus comes to their town where they live. Right? And Mary and Martha, they're really sad. You can imagine, they're really sad. They're sad because their brothers died. But they're also sad because Jesus didn't come and help them. But Jesus is now on the scene. Over to you guys.
Take off the stone. He's been in there for 4 days. He'll be very smelly. Get up, Lazarus, and take off your grave clothes.
Well done. So Jesus came and he called the dead Lazarus out of the tomb. And Lazarus came to life and he tore off all the strips of cloth around him and he came back to life and was with Jesus and his sisters. But you know what? People were amazed. Would you be amazed if suddenly someone who was dead came back to life? I'd be amazed. Loads of people were amazed and they're going, how could this be? How could you do this? Who is this Jesus? And they started to put their trust and faith in Jesus. But not all of them. Some of them left the village and ran straight back to Jerusalem. And they ran back to Jerusalem and they told the leaders, you'll never guess what. You'll never guess what. That Jesus, he has just got Lazarus to come back to life from death. And the religious leaders were really worried. And they were worried because they knew what Jesus was saying. Jesus was saying, I'm God. I'm King. He was doing these amazing miracles which proved something about his amazing power. And the leaders were really worried that the Romans would arrive and take over them even more than they have already. In fact, probably kill lots of people. And then the leader of the Jewish people. There he is. His name's Caiaphas. Caiaphas. Can you say that name? Caiaphas. Caiaphas, he said, hey, it's okay. It's better for one man to die to save the many. Let me have a look at what it says. Alright, this is what it says. Caiaphas, who was the high priest at the time, said, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't realise it's better for you that one man should die for the people than the whole nation be destroyed. He did not say this on his own as high priest at the time. He was led to prophesy that Jesus would die for the entire nation. And not only the nation, but to bring together and unite all the children of God scattered around the world. So Caiaphas is prophesying. He's speaking a message from God. Now, in his head, he's thinking, let's kill Jesus off to save us. Right, let's do that. But actually, he's prophesying that there needs to be someone who will die for the many to be saved. That's the start. First prophecy. Second prophecy. The second prophecy, alright, happens back at the village where Lazarus lived with his sisters, Mary and Martha. And Jesus is there having a meal with Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. And something amazing happens. Right? Caiaphas, he spoke the prophecy, didn't he? He said it. Mary is going to act a prophecy. I'm hoping this will work.
Six days before the Passover, Jesus went to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, the man he had raised from death. They prepared a dinner for him there, which Martha helped serve. Lazarus was one of those who were sitting at the table with Jesus. Then Mary took a whole pint of a very expensive perfume made of pure nard, poured it on Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The sweet smell of the perfume filled the whole house. One of Jesus' disciples, Judas Iscariot, the one who was going to betray him, said,
"Why wasn't this perfume sold? For 300 silver coins. And the money given to the poor."
He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He carried the money bag and would help himself from it.
Leave her alone. Let her keep what she has for the day by burial. You will always have poor people with you, but you will not always have me.
A large number of people heard that Jesus was in Bethany, so they went there, not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom Jesus had raised from death. So the chief priests made plans to kill Lazarus too, because on his account many Jews were rejecting him and believing in Jesus.
So Mary, the sister of Lazarus. Lazarus has just been brought back to life. And Mary wants to show something, her devotion to Jesus, her worship of Jesus. She prophesies by acting out something. She honours Jesus. She's bringing a message through her actions. And what's that message? Well, that perfume would normally be used to anoint someone for burial. Anointing someone. She's prophesying that the one that's going to die, like Caiaphas said, actually that's Jesus. Jesus is the one. I'm preparing him for his burial. Not only that, do you know, that perfume she poured out, right, I can't get the same sense of it, but you can have a sniff. That's the best I could do, right? So you can have a little sniff. If you're allergic, hold your nose. There you go. That perfume, right, was the most amazing perfume. It filled the room with the fragrance. It was so expensive, it really would have only been found in palaces normally. Only really be used for royalty. So in Mary's act of devotion, of love, washing Jesus' feet with this expensive perfume, she was saying, I'm preparing you for burial. But also, she's hinting that this is king. This is a king. She's prophesying, here is the king. So we've got Caiaphas saying it's better for one person to die than the rest of the nation, to save the nation. We've got Mary saying, this is the one. Jesus, the one I washed the feet of. He's the one who's going to die. He's king. The third prophecy. It happens on the very next day after Jesus has had his feet washed by Mary. Right? Matt and Nat and the family are going to help us with this one. Okay? In all good drama schools, you always have someone who gets the role of the
tree.
Of the tree. There you go.
There you will find a young donkey, untie it and bring it to me. If anyone asks, tell them that the Lord needs it. Hosanna! Blessed is he who stands in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the supposed to be shouting Hosanna.
Well done, guys, thank you. So the very Sunday before Jesus got arrested, right, he rides into the city, sat on a donkey. That's a prophetic act, in a sense. But actually, I want us to think about the crown. The crown that was stood there as he was riding into Jerusalem on his donkey. What did they do? They grabbed palm branches. They were waving them. But it's what they said is the thing that was prophetic. What was the word they shouted? Hosanna! Hosanna! Yeah, like we were singing earlier. They shouted Hosanna. Now, you know, we've taken the word from the Bible and just used it. It's a Greek word, Hosanna. And actually what the Greeks did is they just took a word from the Hebrew language which was, I'm going to get it right, Hosanna. Alright, so Hosanna. Let's have a look. There we go. Hosanna. Hosanna. And that word is only used once in the Old Testament. It's only used once in the Old Testament. If you want to look at it, you can look it up. It's Psalm 118. Psalm 118 verse 25. And most of our translations that we've got in English, they translate that Hosanna, Hosanna, they translate it as save us! Save us! That's what the crowd was shouting as Jesus went through riding on a donkey. Remember, Caiaphas, what did he prophesy? One should die to save the many. What did Mary do when she anointed Jesus' feet? She's saying, this is the one that's going to die, Jesus, and he is king, worthy of this expensive perfume. And as Jesus rides into the city on a donkey, all the crowd cheering and shouting and waving branches, shouting, save us! Save us! They're being prophetic. Imagine. Right, just imagine. You can't swim. Right? Imagine if you can't swim. Some of you might not be able to swim. Right? They need some help. Just give me a second. Sorry, what's in minutes? Right here. Imagine you can't swim. Anyone like to pretend they can swim? Alright, come on, Billy, come on. Alright, so Billy can't swim. And Billy stood by the side of the pool. Perfect, here, come on the stage with me, yeah? Okay. Alright? Billy's on the side of the pool. Imagine if someone was to push her in the pool. And it's a deep pool, she can't touch the bottom. What's she going to do as she bubbles up to the surface? She's going to shout, help! Help! Save me! I'm going to push you if you're going to fall into the water. That's it. Stand up and lift your arms up and shout out, help me, save me. Go on. Oh, big voice. Save me. Yeah? Save me. That's what she's going to do, isn't she? She's going to call out, save me. Save me. Hosanna. But her call, her shout is just to anyone who might be around. I just need help. Save me! Save me! Save me! She doesn't know who she's shouting to. She's just shouting, save me! Save me! Anybody! Because she's drowning. And then she spies the lifeguard. What's that here by Toby? Up here. She spies the lifeguard. Now she shouts, save me. But where is her attention? Who's she looking at? Who's she asking to save her? The lifeguard. She sees the lifeguard. That's why they wear these nice bright coloured tops. So you know they are. And she's now going, save me, lifeguard! Save me, lifeguard! Wait there for a second. Now, the people in Jerusalem, they shouted, help! Save us! Blessed, right? Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Lord is God. Right? It's just another way of putting God. So the one who comes in the name of God, he's the one who saves us. That's what they were saying to Jesus. Nearly shouting, I'm drowning, save me. Blessed is the lifeguard who comes to save me. And the lifeguard does this amazing dive. Don't actually dive. Alright? Dives into the pool. And he saves her. And gets her to safety. Okay, both of you guys sit down. Alright? Alright, he saves her. When the crowd are shouting Hosanna, they're not just doing some out there shout, save us, or Hosanna is a nice word to sing. They are focusing their attention on the one on the donkey. There is only one who can say, what did Caiaphas say? It's better for one to die for the many to be saved. Mary says, This is the one that's going to die. He is the king. We're going to anoint him. And then the crowd, as he rides in on a donkey, and they know, there are lots of things written in the Old Testament, in the Bible, about the Messiah riding in on a donkey. They got all that. They knew that. We don't know as much, but they knew it. So they're going, this is the one! Hosanna! Save us, Jesus! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. If you have asked them at that moment, what are you getting saved from? I think they would probably say the Romans. Because that was the thing in front of them all the time. Every single day of their lives, they were confronted with the Romans taking over their country. They could suddenly get stopped and say, no, you're going to carry this for me. They could be taken off to go and work somewhere. They had to pay taxes to Rome. All the time, being confronted with this Roman occupation. And so in their heads, save us, Messiah. Save us from the Romans. But you know what? It's much bigger than that. Much bigger than that. Caiaphas thought, actually, if we kill the one, this upstart Jesus, then the rest of the nation will be okay. The Romans will leave us alone. But Jesus offers us something far greater. Because when Jesus took himself to the cross and died for us, do you know what he saved us from? He saved us from darkness. Because all of us are either in darkness or were in darkness. And he brings us from this darkness. He saves us from darkness of our heart, darkness of the light we're in. He saves us from death. Because you know what? We're dead to God. And he saves us from this disconnection. You know how actually relationships can get broken? Have you ever had that where a relationship gets broken, gets disconnected? Do you know what? We're disconnected from God. We can't have a relationship with God. We can't save ourselves. We need the one to come and save us. And so Jesus comes as the King, as the Messiah, as the blessed one in the name of the Lord, to save us from darkness, death, and relationship disconnection. Because Jesus is the King of Kings, because he's 100% God, he's 100% man, Jesus could die once for the salvation of all who have faith in him. This is a passage in Romans, Paul's letter to the Romans. In Romans chapter 10 it says this: if you openly declare, young people to listen, right, listen to this. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord, that means if you speak it out. If you say, I believe Jesus is Lord. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart, in your innermost being, if you believe in your heart that God raised Jesus from the dead, you'll be saved. Millie, in the water, arms up, help me, save me, lifeguard, save me. What does she need? She needs a lifeguard to come down into her world, into her water, to rescue her. What did God do? What did God do? I'm in a mess, I'm in darkness, I'm in death, I'm in disconnection with God, I'm in disconnection with my relationships with other people. And what did God do? He came from heaven into my earth, into my mess, to be with us. Jesus came. And he came and rescued us. And he saved us from these things. And if I confess he's Lord, and I believe it in my heart, I will be saved. Young people, adults, you too can be saved. You can believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord. You can believe that he died and rose again to new life. And then you are in relationship with him. And not only are you rescued from this mess, do you know what? You're saved for a glorious future. You're saved for light. So you move from darkness, I was in darkness, and I'm now in light. Do you know what? There's no grey in the middle. You're either in darkness or you're in Christ and you're in light. There's no other option. There's no other option. So you can't think, well, I'll try something else. You know, I'll just be good. If I just keep being good enough, if I make sure I make my bed in the morning and I put my cereal bowl away before Mum moans at me, it's alright, I'll get there. No, you're in darkness. You only can be saved when the lifeguard comes into the pool. And you trust the lifeguard to save you. You can only be saved when you accept Jesus and you move into life. And He gives us life, everlasting life, new life. New life in Him. And rather than being disconnected from God, you now experience the love of God. You experience this amazing love that God has for us. And your relationships with others start to be restored. This is amazing. Hosanna! Hosanna! For some of us, do you know what? We might declare Hosanna because we've never ever come to Jesus and said, I want to believe. I want to trust that you are my Lord. So today can be a day where you shout, Hosanna! Hosanna! Hosanna to the highest. For many of us, we've known Jesus as Lord of our lives. And so we can join in and shout Hosanna because we're saying, I'm saved! I'm saved! Hosanna! 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 Because Christ has come into our world, and He, as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, has rescued us. So I want to say to you, young people, you're never too young to have a moment where you say, Jesus, I actually trust that you are my Lord and King. I believe that you died and rose again. And I'm putting my faith and trust in you. And what Jesus says is, you're saved. You're saved. You're in. You're in the running call from darkness to light. You're in. And so I want to encourage you, whatever your age, 87 to 1, put your faith and trust in Him. He's the King. He's the Lord. He is the lifeguard that comes to rescue and save your life.